I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na na na. For my top 10, top 10, top 10, na na na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dan Lok, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Focus on your strengths.
You and I, we are good at a few things. Most of us. We're not born, we are not great at everything. Right? And whenever we try to operate outside of our zone of genius, our zone of brilliance, it's very easy to get stressed out because now we are doing things that we don't enjoy, that we don't like, but that we kind of have to do. We're obligated to do those things, and then it drives us crazy, and then we get burned out. Versus, hey, you know what? I love this. This is my zone of brilliance. This is what I'm good at. You want to spend a majority of your time in your zone of genius, and then you want to delegate the rest. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Dan, I'm just getting started. I can't afford it. Let me give you a different perspective. You will never be able to afford it if you don't first operate from here, right? You need to delegate those smaller tasks. Have other people, because your weaknesses could be other people's strengths. What you're not good at, let's say you're not good with accounting and bookkeeping, when you delegate and outsource those, that frees up your time and your mental bandwidth. So now you're less stressed out. You could focus on high income producing activities, high value activities that brings in more money that you could pay for those service providers. That's how it should work. You shouldn't try to do everything yourself. The very fact that you're trying to do everything yourself and you spend a lot of time on your weaknesses, that's what's holding you back from going to the next level, right? You with me? So don't do that. Focus on your strength and then outsource and delegate your weaknesses.
Rule number 2, set higher goals.
If you're hitting your $4,000 a week, for most people, that's a lot of money, right? That's a lot of money. If you think about $4,000 a week, right? I assume it's US currency, right? That's a lot of money. For most people, that's already six-figure income. And you get complacent because you're comfortable. You're too comfortable. There's not enough pain in your life for you to motivate yourself to move forward, to strive to be more, to do more, to impact more, to add more value. So if you think about, if you set your goal too low versus if you set your goal a little bit higher and say, you know what, I'm making this much, why don't I get to $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 a week? Who do I need to be in order to do that? What kind of value I need to add in order to do that? What kind of skills I need to add? What kind of mindset do I need to develop in order to do that? So your expectation for yourself is too low. The reason your expectation for yourself is too low, my guess is because your parents or the people around you, their expectations of you is too low. And they're telling you should be content. You shouldn't strive more. Why are you working so hard, right? Why are you being a workaholic? You're not spending enough time with us. Why are you so ambitious? Why are you so greedy? When you're not greedy, you just want to be more.
Rule number 3, develop new skill sets.
If they say you are a plumber, you are a landscaper, you are a waiter, you need to be physically there doing the work in order to earn the money, in order to make a living. On the other hand, skill for money means that you have a skill set that you need nothing more, maybe a laptop, a little computer, or maybe a telephone, or something that you could utilize using technology that you will be able to make money from home and earn a living. It also means that the value that you are able to provide needs to be different from most people. It requires a little bit more what I call high-income skills. Skills such as coding or computer programming or copywriting or graphic design, some type of skills that you could offer to the marketplace in exchange of money. You're using now more your brain, your intelligence, your skill sets to make money versus manual labor. Manual labor to make money is always tough because it is a commodity. There are a lot of people that could do what you do versus if you have a unique skill set. Now you are more valuable, not so much as a person, but you're more valuable in terms of skill set to the marketplace. Also, the better you're at your skill set, the more money you could charge, right? There are graphic designers charging $20, $30, $50 on Fiverr. There are graphic designers charging tens of thousands of dollars to do a website. What's the difference? The difference is skill set.
Rule number 4, use books.
One of the very first tips and one of the most important tips I could give you when it comes to books is you want to use books. Because knowledge is one thing. What we want to do is take what's in here, understand it, and then be able to implement and get a result. It's not a contest of memorization. It's a contest for execution and implementation. So every time I read a book, my goal is to want to get 3 ideas out of each book that I could implement right away. That's it. I'm not trying to implement everything the author talks about. I'm looking for just 3 things that I could get out of it. That is it. I want to implement, I want to see how it works for me personally and what I could learn from that. Hi, this is Dan Lok. I want to share with you a lesson from Evan Carmichael's new book, Built to Serve. This section is about making money from your purpose. You have to embrace that. If you never learn how to make money from your purpose, you'll always end up needing a day job, and your purpose will become a hobby. If that sounds like a great life to you, then I'm happy for you. If not, then you need to figure out a money-making model that makes sense, one that is consistent, one that is significant, one that can pay you so you can quit your job and succeed to the point where you are providing jobs for others and helping even more people. You see, money is nothing more than a byproduct of value creation. The more people that you serve, the more successful that you will be. So to have long-term success is not just built to last or built to sell or even built to scale. It is built to serve. And this book will teach you exactly how to do that.
Rule number 5, be financially literate.
Now, it's interesting, in the school system, we are taught how to read, how to listen, how to write, right? How to be literate in the language of English, but we were never taught how to be financially literate. And this is why we have so many problems financially out in the world, in our society, because we were never taught some of these things. When I say financial literacy, I'm not talking about that you need to be an accountant, you need to crunch all the numbers, but I am talking about knowing some of the basics, such as budgeting, being able to read your own basic financial statements, understanding credit cards and credit scores, being able to understand some of these basic terms in terms of loans and interest rates, right? 401k or some basic investment, if it's real estate, if it's index fund, having a basic understanding of how that works, that's all I'm talking about. I'm not asking you to be a sophisticated investor unless that's what you want to do, but for most people, that's probably not doable for most. But at the very least, you want to be able to, it's like in English, you don't need to learn how to write a poetry, right? How to write like a beautiful essay, but it's nice to know at least you know ABC to Z, right? Be able to understand the basics. You can use those words to combine it into a sentence. That's all I'm talking about. When it comes to financial literacy, we just don't know. And ignorance causes money, right? What you don't know will hurt you. The books that you don't read will cost you money. So spend a little bit of time, even read a couple books on this topic, go to some blog posts, read on it, and teach your kids. Don't be afraid to talk about money at the dinner table. Don't be afraid to talk about money with your spouse. Don't be afraid to talk about money with your kids. Educate them, educate yourself, right? Give them that advantage, give them a heads up, right? Compared to everybody else.
Rule number 6, execute on your ideas.
There aren't a lot of people who knows how to execute an idea, or there aren't a lot of people who knows how to put a team together to execute that idea. So idea is a tiny percentage, maybe 1%. It's a tiny percentage, because from the idea to the actual outcome that you want, there are so many obstacles, right? So what skill sets do you need? Depends on what you want to do. Let's say you want to build a website. You want to launch a website to market your products or services online. Well, what kind of skill sets do you need? Maybe you need web designing skills. Maybe you need copywriting skill because you need to write copy in order to sell your products and services. Maybe you need some digital marketing skill in order to drive traffic and eyeballs to your offer, right? Maybe you need some organizational skill. Okay, out of all the list of things I need to do, what do I need to do first? What do I need to do second? What do I need to do third? What are the priorities? Or you need some technical skill, maybe you need some programming skill in order to do that. Now, if you don't have those skill sets, then clearly what you need is you need leadership skill. That means then how do you have other people to help you to accomplish that particular task? If you don't know how to do web designing, where do you go find to look for web designers? How do you know they're doing a good job? How do you know that they are not delaying your project? How could you make sure that they hit those milestones? And how do you quantify the outcome and how do you quantify the result? All those are leadership skills. Or maybe you need some mechanical skills. That it comes to how do you do it, the technical skills, how do you design a website, the programming, things like that. So depends on what it is that you want to do. So that's the first problem. Most people, when they have an idea, they have no idea, no clue what are the skill sets it takes to actually turn this idea into reality, turn the vision into reality. This is this big gap. It's very, very unclear. It's very vague. So then all they do all day is they bitch about the idea. Have you ever had the experience that you're watching TV or you are watching an online video, suddenly you see a product pops on the screen and you say to yourself, hey, that's my idea. I thought of that 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Well, you thought of that, but you didn't do anything about it. Number one, you procrastinate. Number two, having the idea doesn't mean anything because someone else took the same idea or came up with the same idea and they are able to execute it and take it to the marketplace and actually make it happen. Because what people don't realize is when you take your idea and execute it, there are so many obstacles. There are obstacles every step of the way. Then at that time, you need problem-solving skills, right? And most people got very little problem-solving skills. They're not very resourceful. Idea, so what? It is not fair, but it's a fact. The person gets paid very little who has got an idea. But the person who can take the idea and actually turn it into result and outcome, turn it into a product and actually get out there and get people buying, selling it, that person is going to get paid the most. Always the case. Because ideas are dime a dozen. But people who are able to execute, that's rare.
Rule number 7, do the hard things.
I don't want to be the top dog in my circle, right? I don't even want to be equal. I want to walk in the room, I want to be the least successful guy in the room. Because then I can learn from them. I could grow, right? In my circle, I'm like a small potato. So I don't see myself with, oh, I'm very successful. No, I mean, people on social media, people around me, for sure, right? Compared to most people, yes. Not compared to myself. I have higher expectations for myself than anybody else. I am not 1%. Listen to me. I am not even 1% of where I want to be compared to my vision. And I'm where most people want to be in their dreams. And I am not, in my vision, 1% of where I want to be. So what the hell should you be doing? I'm not complacent. I'm working harder today than I was 15 years ago, 10 years ago. I'm working harder today. Why? So the money thing doesn't drive me anymore. You need something bigger. You need a bigger purpose. Otherwise, I'm still young. You're still young. Hell on earth is meeting the man or woman you could have been. Life is short. Look at Kobe Bryant. Basketball. Superstar. A great man. Life is short. You don't want to have regrets. Regrets weigh a ton. A ton. I'd rather take the route of discipline and do the hard thing today. Don't buy into the whole BS people around you and say, oh, you know, you don't want to work too hard. What about life balance and all that stuff? No. You see, now I'm almost to my 40. I could work harder in terms of stamina, 20 years old, 30, right? And 40, you'll feel it. Right? For those of 40, you know what I'm talking about. So now, in order to work harder, it requires more mental bandwidth, it requires more energy. It's harder. Like when I was young, I can pull a few all-nighters, no problem. Now I can't do it. So I need to work smart as well as working hard, right? Not just physically, but mentally. This is what I'm talking about.
Rule number 8, combine purpose with profit.
The difference between social media following versus social capital is social media following, you're just popular. You have a lot of people following you, and that's good, that's fine. But social capital, meaning that you actually have people who like you, know you, and trust you, and are able and willing to buy from you. That's social capital. Unless you turn your social media following into social capital, I believe that social media most of the time is a waste of time. Okay? You don't want to use social media for pleasure as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is smart. You want to use social media for profit. Not all the time. You can also use it for purpose, just for impact. that's okay. Then you're not counting on generating a profit from it. That's perfectly fine. But if you are smart, you should be able to do both. Combine your purpose with the profit, both goals. They don't contradict with each other, just so you know. So let's say, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say you are adding value, you're creating content. Let's say you have a YouTube channel. You're adding value, and you never sell a damn thing, meaning you never offer anything to your audience, to your followers. You just keep adding value, you keep creating content, and you spend years building that following. And suddenly one day, and you say, you know what? I've been struggling for years. I've worked very, very hard. I have done editing. It's only me working late night and producing the best content to entertain, to empower, to educate my audience here. And now you want to offer something, you're going to sell your t-shirt. Suddenly your entire following is like, oh, what a sellout. You sell out. You weren't like this before. You never sold us anything. You're now a f***ing asshole. Why? Because you now, just try to sell a $20 t-shirt. It feels like you've just like killed somebody because you've never ever sold anything to that audience. So you think you are doing them a service by not offering anything. You're actually doing a disservice because there's no way anyone can create permanent and lasting and profound change through a 5-minute video. It is egotistical to think you could do that. Just like there's no speaker in the world that can provoke permanent change in 60-minute, 90-minute speech. They get all hyped up and excited, and that's good. They get motivated, but when they go home, the habits remain. People don't change like that overnight unless it's something very drastic. So, by not selling anything, not doing anything for years, suddenly you offer something, you're an asshole. Let's look at the other way. Let's look at the other extreme example. Now, let's say every single content you put out there, every email that you send out, every video that you do, you're always selling something. Well, then you are destroying the trust. You're trying to get something without first offering something in return. You're trying to get value without first giving value first. So just like social capital, I always describe social media, think of it as like a social capital bank. If you go to the bank and you try to make a withdrawal without making any deposit, meaning creating goodwill, creating value, delivering good content. First, you try to do a withdrawal. Let's say you go to your bank and you say, give me some money, right? Without making any deposit. That's called robbery. You'll get the police, right? But versus if you've been making deposit over time and you withdraw from time to time. So you want that ratio. So you're depositing 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. When you withdraw 1,000. You keep depositing 1,000, 2,000, and then withdraw 1,000. See, this is how you accumulate. So there's no right or wrong about the ratio. Is it 80% value and 20% offer? Is it 50% value, is 50% offer? That depends on your audience, depends on your niche, depends on who you're serving. But what you don't want to do is never offer anything, because then you are training your audience never to buy anything from you. It is not good for them because now you are preventing them from investing with you, from buying your products and services that could really serve them. It is not good for you because you're not making a profit. If you're not making a profit, you'll get burned out. And how long can you sustain doing this if you cannot even pay your bills? You see YouTubers do this. You see it happens a lot of YouTubers spend years and they couldn't even afford to pay the bills. They aren't making a basic living from the social media platform, and that's very sad. And it's sad is also because it's only a matter of time that they have to give up their passion. It's only a matter of time that they can't produce content anymore because they got to make a living. They got to get a job. It's unfortunate for the followers and fans as well, right? And also knowing that when you offer something, if you haven't offered anything for a while, when you offer something, you always have someone from your list, from your following saying, oh, you're selling something. I don't like you're selling something. Ignore those losers. They're never going to buy anything from you anyway. They add no value to your life. Don't worry about it. Those who are afraid to sell, those who hate to sell, will always struggle financially. Look at the people. I challenge you, anyone on social media, they say, oh yeah, I don't like this person selling this and that person's broke. Because in business, anyone with half a brain, with a little bit of intelligence, they know in business, nothing happens until you sell something. Nothing happens until you say something and move a product and move the needles. That has to do with selling. That has to do with communication. That has to do with selling. Makes sense, right? Anyone knows that. Anyone's like, I don't like you trying to sell me stuff. I don't like that. Because they don't like to be sold, it tells me they don't like to sell. Sales equals income. People who say, I don't like to sell, I don't like to be sold, it's like, I don't like money. It's no different. So, offers. Make offers from time to time. You could do it, maybe, let's say, start off with 80%. Value. Let's say you upload a video every single day, 7 days a week. Do 7 videos, value, and then offer. Value, and then offer, right? You can do 2 days a week. Start off with that and see how your audience responds. And if they are like, okay, this is no problem. And guess what? No one is pointing a gun to their head and asking them to buy. If they don't want to buy, they could perfectly enjoy your content. That's perfectly fine. They don't have to buy anything, right? You're talking to the small percentage who want more from you. You're talking to a small percentage who do want to invest at a high level with you. So why wouldn't you give them opportunity like that? Why wouldn't you give them a chance to work with you further if you do have those products and services? You're doing it for those. And for the ones who can't or may never spend any money with you, and that's okay, you do it out of the goodness of your heart. That's okay, just that's for purpose. That's no problem, right? Maybe they will never be able to afford to purchase what you offer. That's okay, right? You keep accumulating that social capital, and a percentage of them will want to do business with you. So that's my recommendation.
Rule number 9, appreciate money.
I think the way I view money, I would say the way I view time has changed drastically. Now I would value time way more than money. That each minute has to be worth a certain amount of money. Each hour of my time is worth a lot of money. So I would so much now cherish time because I cannot buy back time, right? As we spend so much effort earning more money, now we want to buy back time. So I am at a place where I want to buy back time. Having better people in my life to be able to help me, having a great team, having people to do other things for me to save me time, because time is the most valuable commodity that I have, because I cannot make more time. I cannot use money to buy back more time. It's all the time that we have. So I would say that's the biggest shift in terms of looking at things. I think in the beginning you need to cherish and appreciate the value of a dollar if you want to accumulate dollar. People who think money is not that important, that they don't cherish and appreciate the value, doesn't mean I want you to be cheap, right? I'm the last person to tell you to be cheap. But if you value that dollar, then you will be able to accumulate. It's easier for you to accumulate money when you appreciate money. Doesn't mean the love of money is the root of all evil. That's bullshit, right? It's not that. It's not the love of money is the root of all evil, right? It's not true. So that would be my perspective.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is always be prepared.
So as an individual, as I've said many times in my other previous videos, that it's very critical to have a way that you could make a living from home, that you could work remotely. Because now, a lot of people are staying home, that they cannot go out, and they're getting hours cut, then they may not be able to go to work. And we don't know, again, how long this will last, but having that skill that you can work remotely, and most of my students work remotely. Most of my team members work remotely. Having a skill set. So I hope this is sometimes a warning, a reminder how important that is, not just relying on one job, instead developing a skill set that you could count on, a skill set you could rely on. And for company, I know